Raise the flag high in the world of pirates. 3 strikes against Maria, gathering the strength of the 4 seas to counterattack the great root. The presence of creators is not allowed over the Red Earth continent. Keywords of the novel. Starting from the pirates, burning the world without pop-ups. Starting from the pirates, burning the world. Download the complete text, and reading the latest chapters on burning the world from the pirates. Chapter 1. The Burning World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. The Burning World. In the year 1501 of the Heian era, 7-year-old Robin dragged back a teenager by the seaside. What she didn't know was that she had changed the course of the world. Open your eyes, the unfamiliar ceiling, wake up again from the unfamiliar environment. As a young man with a soul from a different world, he has prepared himself for the worst. The original body was an ordinary young man from a small island in the East China Sea. After a serious illness and death, the soul of a 2-spined salamander from another world was resurrected on its body. Noah officially came to this world using his predecessor's name. Just as I woke up, I heard my original parents discussing the execution of the pirate King Roger in Logue Town, which marked the beginning of the era of the Great Pirate. This made Noah suddenly excited. It was the year 1500 of One Piece world. The supernatural power, the magnificent sea, and the heroes of all walks of life create a world full of excitement and passion. However, before I could get to know my parents, the village was attacked by an unknown pirate group that had just set sail. All adults and children were killed. Because Noah did not have much emotional attachment to his original parents, he only had a look of fear without hatred. When he was spotted by the pirate leader, he did not kill him. Instead, he took him to the pirate ship and became a backup pirate part-time laborer. The Noah boy on the ship felt no freedom from the pirates, only blood, fear, humiliation, and exhaustion. Every day, he fights and scolds, cleans the deck, drags ropes, carries gunpowder, and occasionally handles corpses. Finally, in a temporary port of call, he ran out with a hidden small dagger and stabbed the person in charge. The captain of the pirate group may be furious, but it is impossible to search the port just for the sake of a child. After all, the mixed fish pirate group still has a lot of pressure in their hearts, and ports that can stop pirate ships are also difficult to deal with, so they have to hate and leave. After running for a few days, Noah, who had escaped, was caught by a slave-hunting ship from all over the world, marked as a slave, and imprisoned at the bottom of the cabin. Every day, a little water and half a loaf of black bread are maintained, and it is said that they need to first search for goods in all corners of the world and then be auctioned off at the Shampoo Islands. The pungent smell, low sobs, and vomiting in the cabin filled with slaves can be described as human purgatory. Noah's eyes were lifeless, and the torment of the past 2 years was about to crush him. The deep-seated unwillingness of modern people was also on the verge of collapse. Until one day, the slave ship encountered a Sea King attacking ship in the West Sea, and it was shattered. Noah was also thrown into the sea and drifted until he was picked up by Robin. After waking up, Noah saw the little Robin, the glaring sunlight outside the window, and heard the chirping of birds outside. He understood the sentence from Shawshank's Redemption somewhat. Some birds are not mean to be caged, their features are just too bright. Some birds are destined not to be caged, and every feather of them shines with the radiance of freedom. Robin Sauce, the little guy you picked up, has no health problems anymore. He's just suffering from long-term malnutrition, and some of his external injuries have been treated. Thank you, Mrs. Satchman. 8-year-old Robin helped the dazed Noah out of the door of the clinic. After a brief introduction, Robin learned that this little brother was a homeless and pitiful person. His own aunt would definitely not let him take him home, so let's send him to the Tree of All Knowledge. Even the depressed Noah was amazed at the moment he saw the Tree of Omniscience. The word towering giant tree embodies clarity and clarity. After learning about Noah's background, the kind-hearted Dr. Clover decided to temporarily take in this young man, which is not uncommon in the open sea. Let Noah organize scattered books in the tree of all knowledge and also read them. So there was an additional silent librarian in the tree of omniscience. Noah found that reading books could calm her heart, so she moved into a small room in the library and lived a simple life every day. The doctors of O'Hara are also very satisfied with this young man and have a scholarly learning spirit. One night, there were still Dr. Clover and Noah left in the library. Doctor, do you know that O'Hara will face the destruction of the demon-slaying order due to his research on historical texts? Dr. Sanyi Chow accidentally knocked over a book. Noah knew that the Navy would come to O'Hara next year to launch the demon-slaying order, and this miraculous island would be destroyed in the flames of war. So I made a decision to talk to Dr. Sanyi Chow about this matter. Although the doctor was surprised by how Noah knew, scholars of the real history of O'Hara will not give up. As for the transfer of islanders, it was too late. Later, Dr. Sanyi Chow tried it. The world government has long banned the nearby island chain, and the residents of the small island can no longer leave. Noah himself had no intention of escaping, he was too tired, and this pirate world left him at a loss. Although temporarily free, he always felt like he was still confined in a cage and shackled. There is not much will to survive, but I really want Robin to escape. Unfortunately, an ordinary person cannot do anything in this world. Noah has an ordinary appearance and is quiet. The person who chats with him the most on the island is Little Robin. Little Robin often asks him what the outside world is like, but Noah doesn't really understand either. He spent most of his time in this world on pirate ships or slave ships, so he had to imagine some past life stories to tell Little Robin. Seeing Robin's innocent smiling face, Noah's heart was in pain. The year 1502 of the High Yuan calendar has arrived, and as time passes day by day, Noah becomes increasingly silent. He finds that even reading a book cannot calm him down. Looking at the peaceful island, the kind doctor, and the innocent Robin, Noah felt very uncomfortable. It seems like a fire is burning through one's heart, riddled with wounds and decay. One day, Little Robin came over to share a secret. Noah, I picked up another person by the seaside. He's a giant, and his smile is so strange. Come on, hee. Robin's imitation made Noah's eyes shrink at a glance. Robin, take me to see if your giant friend is good. Then the two of them arrived at the seaside. It is indeed Hagawul D. Salon. Oh, are you friends with Robin Sauce? Hello little brother, come on, hee. Even in such an urgent moment, Noah still has a black line, and the laughter of the pirate world is too demonic. Turning his head to Robin, he said, don't learn this kind of laughter in the future, girls will become ugly if they learn it. Oh, since Saron has arrived, Robin's mother Olivia should also be back. Robin Sauce, go back to the port. There's a surprise. After coaxing and deceiving Robin away, there were some things to talk about. I know the demon-slaying order has arrived and I also know who you are. Protect Robin, please. Noah ran back to the tree of all knowledge before the giant could react. He wants to die in the tree of omniscience and leave this world that he doesn't like. Although selfish, as an ordinary person, I am powerless in this world. Noah, hidden in the tree of omniscience, watched the plot develop step by step, thinking he would be very selfish and indifferent. I have only known this world for 3 years and have seen too much darkness and blood. But Robin's tears and Doctor's blood seemed to ignite something. The demon-slaying order is activated, and the tree of all knowledge is ignited. In the raging fire, Noah's eyes also reflected the flames. Anger is a spark that ignites the thoughts of past lives, ignites the experiences of this world, ignites Noah. Rushed out of the tree of omniscience and headed towards the seaside. He wants to question this world, he wants to protect Robin, he wants to ignite this world. Salon by the seaside has already fallen, and Robin is crying by the seaside. Standing in front of him is the future admiral of the Navy, the green pheasant, a natural demon fruit-capable individual standing at the pinnacle of the sea. Jian Wense had already sensed someone coming, and Qing Ji stood quietly there. Sarong's beliefs shook his own justice, and he needed to think about it. Robin. Robin, who was crying, saw a person emerge from the bushes. The person was black and white from the smoke, and his clothes were torn and tattered by the branches. He rushed over panting heavily. Only the eyes are bright, dazzling, as if burning with flames. Noah, Noah, you're here. Where have you been? I'm so scared, wow, ah. Robin's tears made Noah more painful, guilty, and angry. He stared at the green pheasant tightly, the flames in his eyes giving it a burning sensation. This world is wrong. Young man, you haven't seen the world yet. How can you say that the world is wrong? Pointing to the refuge ships of burning civilians at sea, is this correct or incorrect? Looking at Robin in his arms, is this correct or incorrect? Watching the dead Sarong, is this correct or incorrect? Raise your arm and reveal the slave imprint on it, roaring angrily, is this right or wrong? If I'm not wrong, then this world is wrong. A roar mixed with anger surged from Noah's body in all directions. The whole world seems to be ignited by the anger of the youth. A book written on a whim due to a hobby. The first book for newcomers, thinking that as long as they finish it, it will be good. I hope everyone can support me more. August 28, 2023. At present, the grades are still good, with orders for 2,000 plus. Looking back now, looking back at the hundreds of thousands of words in the front is quite inexperienced. Although the plot is not as explosive as the later stages, I really liked the recklessness in the first chapter. Thank you all for your support. The subsequent plot is really good. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Awakening Era. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 2. Awakening Era. Robin, who woke up from a nightmare, was covered in cold sweat. At this moment, Noah pushed the door open and came in holding a glass of water. Drink water first, we are safe for now. Robin, who had regained his senses after drinking water, burst into tears in a low voice. Everything that had happened before was true. These are too painful for an 8-year-old girl. The only thing stronger than the original is having Noah by her side. Don't leave me. No. After Robin calms down, let's do a disguise and leave here later. It's not safe to be too close to O'Hara. We will definitely go to the world government's wanted list for the time being. Oh, how did we escape, Noah? I communicated with Chingy. Okay, it's not important. Let's eat something first. Oh, where are we going after finishing? East China Sea, the place where everything starts. It is also the most suitable place for Noah's growth in his heart, the world government. A few days later. Marin Fando, Naval Headquarters. With a loud bang. The head of the CP department punched the conference table with a punch. How come there are still 2 survivors in O'Hara? How did Noah climb onto O'Hara before? Can he interpret the text of history? That's how you executed the orders of the 5-old Star Lord. This is dereliction of duty, serious dereliction of duty. The roar of General CP did not elicit any response from the naval executives present. Cap was snoring and his nose was bubbling up. The Warring States period had a serious expression, with everything they said to you right. The yellow ape in the 3rd middle school is repairing its fingers, the green pheasant is looking at the scenery outside the window, and only the red dog is sitting upright without saying a word. After the CP chief roared, he also looked helpless. The world government does indeed control this world, but all present are monsters standing at the pinnacle of the ocean. What can we do unless we explicitly betray the world government? After pondering for a while, the green pheasant still gave some explanations. After all, the ability to interpret historical texts is too taboo for governments around the world. Even if it's just a child running around, they need to make a certain response. Salon still had some strength, causing some obstacles that led to the 2 little ghosts running away. Just issue a wanted notice and increase the reward. There's no need to be alarmed. Oh, by the way. Noah has the potential for dominance, and the reward is higher. Cough, domineering, why is it only reported now? Everyone present was moved. After all, there is a king's potential among millions of people, and they are still quite concerned about it. It's just potential, there are so many new worlds, and the possibility of a little ghost surviving the world government's wanted list is so small. Don't worry too much. After discussing the bounty, everyone parted ways. When Qingji returned to the office, he leaned back in his chair and reminisced about that day once again. Actually, there are some things that Qingji lied about. On the fiery island of O'Hara, the stubborn boy exudes not only the potential of a king, but an incredible and terrifying aura as vast as heaven and earth. The world is sick, I want to change it and save it. How to save it, breaking down the old world and creating a new one. At first glance, Qingji was a bit skeptical that he had heard it wrong. He was just a little ghost, and even if he had the qualifications of a king, he was a bit shameless. The world is made up of billions of sentient beings, and when all of us who are oppressed stand up, the so-called world government is nothing but a pile of rotten wood. Everyone stand up. As a reserve general, he felt a sense of panic for the first time with his hair on end. People in this world are yearning for freedom, and Roger just opened a gap. But I can make everyone awaken their consciousness. The world is created by us, not by the Creator. So, we can also choose to destroy it. The green pheasant was somewhat shaken, as if he saw the world being ignited by flames behind the young man, witnessing war, blood rain, and the loss of a large number of lives. He hesitated. The young man was too dangerous, so dangerous that he wanted to kill him now to stabilize the world. But killing innocent lives goes against one's own justice. Have you considered that a large number of innocent people will die? Have you considered that this sea will become fragmented? I've considered it, but revolution is about bloodshed, it can be mine or anyone's. Noah was prepared to die here, and every word he said at this moment was so sincere. Such magnanimity and sincerity make it difficult for Qingji's heart to resist. He admits that this young man deserves the courage of a king, and his words are so passionate that people yearn but fear them. In the end, Qingji made a decision that he couldn't even figure out and sent them away from O'Hara. He decided to take a look at what the young man had said about the future, which may not be so bad. Come with me, there is a small port on the island in the distance. From now on, you can just leave it to fate. The sudden turning point left Noah feeling a bit confused, but being able to survive is definitely a good thing. Although I don't know why, I am still extremely grateful. No need, if you let me know what you're doing in the future, I'll personally take action to arrest you. I'll keep an eye on you. After speaking, he carried a child in one hand and walked out into the air. The combination of frozen fruits and shaving makes it very easy and effortless for the green pheasant to move at super high speeds on the sea, and Noah can't even see clearly before him. He suddenly stops on an island in a daze. The future generals are really monsters. After being sent to the new island, the green pheasant is preparing to leave. During the period of the demon-slaying order, the general of the main unit will disappear for too long without reason, which is not good. Hello, I will repay the kindness of saving my life. No need. Hello, so what's going on? Can you give me some Bailey? We're penniless now, so let's consider it as an investment in my future. How about that? The future general quickly pulled out his limited possessions and left here, afraid that Noah would make any further demands. Such a arrogant little devil really owes a lot. After the green pheasant left, Noah immediately lay down on the ground, and Robin, who had fainted, leaned against him. He is too tired. Rushing from the tree of omniscience to the seaside, fearlessly facing off against the general, and after the outbreak of dominance, both the body and mind were filled with exhaustion. Watching 2 tears streaking across the dark cheeks in the direction of O'Hara in the distance. Everyone, I will change this world. Because I have found my own miracle. Noah found his golden finger. The power of analysis. Half of this ability comes from the souls of other worlds, and half comes from the tree of omniscience. The tree of all knowledge, as a storage point that records most of the knowledge, history, and culture of human civilization, has a special concept. It is somewhat similar to the state of a ship spirit. After burning, this concept loses its carrier and slowly dissipates into the world. However, the souls of other worlds belong to extraterrestrial objects that can precisely carry this concept. So the combination of partial omniscient power and the miraculous power of extraterrestrial souls gave birth to the power of analysis. This ability can be learned from other people's skills through contact, observation, and other means. After entering, one can also analyze it on their own, but it will be slow and consume a lot of energy. Of course, special abilities such as Devil's Fruit cannot be learned, and abilities like Sea King cannot be learned either. The power of analysis is important in analyzing one's own body values and learning progress. With the brain of a different world, a standard golden finger is done. After the power of analysis appeared, the mind naturally knew how to use it. After all, Noah's soul was also involved in the birth of this ability. I made a virtual template for myself in my mind, briefly displaying the skill name and parsing progress. Such as physical fitness. 5:10 Strength. 4:10 Speed. 6:10 Skills. Shaving. Beginner level 10%, unable to use due to insufficient physical conditions. Overlord color with a domineering aura of 1%. 3%. 10 o'clock is the average quality of an ordinary human in the world of One Piece. Noah's current bone age is 14 years old, which is relatively low. After all, living on the One Piece ship and the slave ship in the past 2 years was good, and his physical foundation must be very weak. Skills are divided into 5 levels. Beginner, Proficient, Master, Perfect, and Beyond. Let me put it this way, the future 4 emperors will definitely have the ability to surpass their level. Shaving was just a small surprise, as it was deciphered by Qingji when he was using it. In fact, just getting started is already very difficult. This time, it was a character at the level of Qingji who showed him his skills without any defense in order to achieve a 10% effect from getting started. The domineering color was completely unexpected by Noah, but it's not a problem to think about it. I dare to call the sun and moon a new sky, even the 4th emperor cannot match this kind of courage. Now it's temporarily safe. After resting for a while, Noah flipped into an abandoned house with Robin on his back. Before entering the village, he secretly took a look and found that the village was quite desolate, with many houses empty. In fact, this is the current situation at the beginning of the age of pirates, and ordinary people cannot imagine whether tomorrow or an accident will come first. Put Robin on the bed, wash his face casually, and then he can no longer support himself, lying on the floor and falling asleep. The next morning, I woke up and disguised myself with the simple tools I found in the house, then went out to buy some bread and came back. The appearance of unfamiliar faces on the island must be known to the villagers, and the long-term survival rule tells everyone that it is better to treat some things as unknown. It was precisely this indifference that saved the village itself. Upon returning, Robin woke up and comforted him before starting to prepare to leave. Still in the West Sea, we can't expect the Navy to not capture us. The survivors of O'Hara are tempting treasures. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Starting place. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Starting place. 2 major events occurred in 1502. One is the escape of the Golden Lion, Ski, from the underwater prison in Impel, and the other is the destruction of O'Hara by the demon-slaying order. These 2 things have caused a sensation in the world. News hotspots are constantly being circulated, and Morgans is even more excited to lose a lot of bird feathers. Devil's son Nicole Robin offers a bounty of 79 million Bailey. The extremely evil ghost Noah offers a reward of 100 million Baileys with the news bird's transmission. The wanted notices for Noah and his companion spread across the sea, causing countless bounty hunters and pirates to go crazy. The current wanted list still has a lot of value, unlike the exaggerated inflation of bounty money after 1522. This bounty is just for many new world pirate groups. It's definitely not daring to catch a big pirate, but catching 2 little ghosts is something everyone dares to do. Maybe there are still some treasures of O'Hara that can be searched for. Noah had anticipated that there would be many crazy people searching for them in the early stages of the bounty release, so he took Robin to an island not far from the 80th Naval Branch in the West Sea to hide. This location is not far from the Naval Branch, and most people would not have expected Noah to be so bold. As a walking bounty gift, he dared to go into seclusion near the Naval Branch. And if they are closer to the Naval Branch, pirate ships dare not approach. There are very few fierce men within the 4 seas who are not afraid of naval shelling. The pirates who can resist the branch are all on the Great Route. I lurked on the island for about half a year, which was the time for Noah to accumulate knowledge and think about the future. Firstly, changing the world requires an action plan. Although Noah has the ideological guidelines, reform methods, and mature political systems of great people from another world, it is not possible to simply copy the ideas of another world. The political system of the One Piece world is very chaotic, with feudal monarchy, fiefdom and fiefdom systems, as well as many countries in a state of war and division. In the New World, there are also countries under the rule of the One Piece, and even gods ruling over their people on empty islands. These are all real problems. Secondly, we need to distinguish between those that can be won over, those that need to be overthrown, and those that need to be reformed. We need to distinguish between those who are enemies and those who are friends. And the living and production standards of the people, whether to launch the Industrial Revolution, and so on. Within half a year, a framework was completed, but it was still empty inside. However, this is enough. After all, Noah has too little exposure to this world, and in the future, he can modify and fill it in when traveling to the sea. And Robin, under Noah's guidance, slowly developed his flower and fruit abilities inside the room. In terms of brain size and fruit development, he had to obey the Blue Star crowd. Half a year later, in the year 1503 of the High Yuan calendar. Ordinary people are generally not paying much attention to the O'Hara incident anymore, and Noah thinks he can make a move. The next step is to acquire power through learning and analysis. This is an era where great power belongs to oneself. The kings at the pinnacle of the ocean are commanding their territories with their own military force. When in Rome, do as the Romans do, and Noah should also seize the time to cultivate. The downside of being close to a naval branch is that there shouldn't be too much movement. Otherwise, you can try exercising near the naval branch. Do you want to join the Navy for training or become a pirate? Can't you just check it out? Oh roar, it becomes a big gift package upon inspection. So although Noah has the power of analysis in the past 6 months, he has also suppressed his desire to become stronger with caution. In order to travel between the 4 seas, he even gave himself a new name. Adam. This is also one of his pen names, and he decided to increase his influence by serializing some articles in newspapers while also bringing some private goods to awaken some people. He also gave Robin a pseudonym. Ashihara, which can be considered a bad joke. Robin asked several times about the origin of this name, but was fooled and only said it was the name of the female protagonist in future novels. I changed my hair color with paint before going out, and changed it to brown hair. I also disguised my face. With the ability of Huagua and a little trick, Noah and his wife easily prepared fake identification documents from the town sheriff and boarded the passenger ship. This time, they will go to the town of Logue in the East China Sea, and then transfer to the village of Semiziki in the East China Sea. Yes, go to the East China Sea to find Frost Moon Jengsalang and learn from him. Although there are also talented individuals hidden in the world, Gung Sailang is the safest. The most important thing for Noah, who has the power of analysis, is that someone can guide him to get started. Even if he cannot learn advanced swordsmanship in the future, he can analyze it himself. Moreover, Gung Silang's swordsmanship level can be considered a master on the Great Route, and it is also very profitable to learn the true teachings. After all, those called Frost Moon are not easy. Traveling in the world of One Piece is really troublesome for ordinary people. Firstly, for long-distance navigation, there needs to be a sturdy ship that can withstand wind and rain. Be sure to have detailed nautical charts to avoid reefs or eddies. Professional navigators direct ships to avoid adverse weather or guide their routes. And luck, which can evade the pirates' luck. The ship swayed at sea for 2 months and finally arrived at the town of Logue. After getting off the ship, Noah and his companions unanimously decided to rest in Logue for a week before departing. This type of passenger ship is too tiring. Even a larger port has to stop to replenish supplies, unload and move goods, and patience is gradually worn away. Is this the reason why pirates become increasingly abnormal? After resting at a hotel in Logue Town for a day, the two of them went to the execution platform first. Standing at the edge of the square, their thoughts were different as they watched the execution platform. Robin came to admire archaeology with a mindset of witnessing historical relics. And Noah became complicated, with both hatred and admiration. Hatred is because Roger opened up the era of the great pirates, creating many breeding grounds for evil on the sea. He traveled through the ups and downs of the early days, and his miserable life can be said to have been brought about by Roger's words. There is also admiration. After all, Roger's original intention was to use his free will to confront world governments, and this ideological confrontation is considered his predecessor, the Pirate King. I'm afraid I will end the Pirate King in the future. In the end, there was only a sigh left and he turned around and left. After all, the two are still wanted criminals and it is not suitable to stay in such a sensitive location for a long time, which will cause the Navy to investigate. Places like Roger's execution platform still have a great attraction to pirates. There are always countless new pirates who sneak in here to become famous and do something to make a big fuss, causing big news. Basically, those who are lucky enough to do this will be quickly arrested and imprisoned, and released to go back home to farm after many years. Those who are unlucky will be shot dead on the spot, and then an anonymous death report will be registered. Although the smoker is not here at this time, those who sit in places like Rogue Town are usually the school officials of the headquarters. It is normal for a Navy Type 6 officer to know a few moves. He is considered a top figure in the world with his strength, but he really can't afford to be provoked. Afterwards, Noah and Robin went to the news publishing house to submit their articles. During his time in the West Sea, Noah used the pseudonym Adam to serialize some short stories in the newspaper, which received a good response. The Morgan's news agency specially sent a chief editor to receive this lengthy collaboration. Oh my, Mr. Adam is really young and talented. I didn't expect you to be so young and admirable. Our president has repeatedly told us to learn from Mr. Adams' writing style, and we are fortunate to have met a real person. Please give us more guidance. Who said that the art style of One Piece world is very direct, and this way of communication seems to have returned to the Blue Star Society, which is somewhat friendly. After a round of pleasantries, Noah pulled out a thick work. This time it is in the form of a text and image serialization, called JoJo's Wonderful Adventure. The reason for choosing this serialized Noah was also considered. Firstly, in this novel, the second part of the storyline always feels very compatible with the world of One Piece. Secondly, it contains supernatural abilities, which have a strong appeal to ordinary readers. In the world of One Piece, ordinary people also crave power. The third is that JoJo is passionate enough to awaken the courage of ordinary people. It is enough not to stand up in times of crisis, but at least not to be numb in the face of evil. This kind of work that will sell well at a glance is irresistible to the editor-in-chief. Feeling at the other person's innate talent, they were able to produce such a popular and excellent work at a young age. Both parties quickly signed a contract for soliciting manuscripts. Noah, as a special correspondent for the World Economic News, will open a personal column in the newspaper and continuously serialize this, JoJo's wonderful adventure. After signing, the World Economic News Agency generously paid the initial article fee and filled Noah's wallet with a lot of money. A week later, the two of them made some purchases in Logue Town. After all, they still had to bring gifts when they went to study. A good and fast knife found in a boutique weapons store, and a visiting gift box. After sealing the gift, I boarded the ship heading to Seymour Village, also known as Frost Moon Village. Luoga Town is not far from Xuanyue Village and can be reached in a week. The East China Sea has always been known as the weakest sea among the four seas, which means that safety is also very guaranteed, and passenger ships travel very smoothly. But Noah was not careless at all. For him and Robin, the East China Sea was the most dangerous. There are many big shots from here who are not easy to deal with. Fortunately, we arrived at Frost Moon Village without any surprises or risks in the end. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Matters of Apprenticeship. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Matters of Apprenticeship. Gung Shiro has been in a good mood lately because his daughter, Gu Yaina, has been born. I originally intended to name it according to the tradition of the Kingdom of Harmony, but later on, I realized that even though I had abandoned the name of Frost Moon, there was no need for me to be too persistent. Now there is also the inheritance of bloodline, only the inheritance of swordsmanship has not been passed down yet. Unfortunately, Gu Yaina is a girl who has touched her muscles and bones and is not naturally gifted. She may not be able to inherit the swordsmanship of the Frost Moon family. In the family records, the physique of the Light Moon tribe is much stronger than that of the Frost Moon tribe, and it is truly enviable that there will be unparalleled powerhouses every few generations. Feeling the words on his waist, Gung Shiro knew that his swordsmanship was gradually declining, but it was his own choice. Choosing to live in seclusion in the East China Sea, Gengshiro knows that his swordsmanship has come to an end. Swordsmanship, dominance, and physical strength are all signs of retreat. If there are no other external disturbances in this life, one may have to stay here until old age. The strong on the sea cannot retreat from faith. Hegemony in swordsmanship cannot be hidden, as once one's mental energy loses its strength, it will decline and never return to its peak. These examples can be found everywhere on the sea. The Golden Lion, Ski, was indeed a top contender against Roger and Whitebeard back then. After escaping from the imperial prison, he hid and conspired, leading to a significant decline in his dominance and level of swordsmanship. The dominance is not strong, the sword energy is scattered, and even the floating fruits become flashy. It doesn't match the level of the Navy headquarters when it was launched alone. It makes some sense to be assigned a plot kill for Luffy. It's a bit excessive to not even show off one's dominance. There is also the shame of the Seven Martial Seas, Moonlight Moria. The fierce man who used to wield a big knife and cut down Kaido in the New World. After being defeated, he also started playing zombie puppets in order to seek revenge, but if he really came back to Kaido, it would be a big deal, and he might not even see thunderous gossip. The stronger, the purer, and the more courageous and progressive. The future 4 emperors and 3 great generals will all be like this. Although the routes they take are different, they are not afraid to cross the sea. Purely like Cap, he grew stronger in his old age and reached the pinnacle of his battle against the Rocks pirates. Even during times of war, he was able to maintain extremely strong combat power thanks to his extreme purity. Speaking of returning to Gengshiro, although Gu Yaina cannot inherit all the Frost Moon sword technique, she is not too worried. This kind of thing can only be done naturally. He will slowly search for candidates as he runs a dojo in Zimaziji village, and there will always be a young swordsman who can support the name Frost Moon. Dong dong, excuse me, is it the Frost Moon dojo? We are here to pay our respects. The arrival of a brother and sister disrupted the peaceful Frost Moon Taoist temple. Sitting upright in front of Gengshiro was Noah and his companions. Adam, is it a rider from the West Sea? Did you come here specifically to pay your respects? My place is an unnamed Taoist temple in the East China Sea. Why do you come here to pay your respects? Gung Sailang was somewhat puzzled, as the young man with his sister in front of him did have some fame. He remembers often seeing articles written by this person in the World Economic News. Why do writers like this need to learn from their teachers? They must also come to their own place to learn from their teachers. This is what Gung Sailang needs to figure out. Because I accidentally saw the family pattern of the Frost Moon family. I knew that your swordsmanship is also one of the few in the Four Seas. Zheng Xiro's gaze instantly fixed on Noah. How could outsiders even know about the household tattoos of the isolationist strategy that the country of Heji has been implementing? With his right hand on the hilt of the sword, he remained calm and composed. Noah felt a slight cut in his face. It's a master. Oh, how did the young man know about the Frost Moon family? Master Zheng Xiro, our siblings come from O'Hara. My name is Noah, and my sister's name is Robin. My current identity is a survivor of O'Hara and a wanted criminal by the world government. This time I came simply to learn the power of self-protection. After all, my sword on the sea is always worth believing. Noah feels that his identity still needs to be honest, because he needs to be honest in his future actions to complete. If Gung Sailang refuses them due to identity issues, he will just switch to other places to learn slowly. With analytical skills, he is confident that he can become stronger anywhere. O'Hara, Zheng Xiro felt like he knew why they knew about the information of the Land of Harmony. After all, the name of the tree of all knowledge was still very well known. Next came the confusion, as he understood the importance of O'Hara's historical texts to the world government. If the world government really knew that these two were studying kendo here, it was likely that they would issue another demon-slaying order on this small island. But it's just a problem, people from the same country will not fear the world government. 400 years ago, our ancestor, Frost Moon Dragon Horse, intercepted the world government with just one sword, so the warriors of the country of He were very proud in their hearts. Not to mention people from the Frost Moon family. In the future, when Sauron made a big fuss over Justice Island and became a pirate supernova, Gung Xiro drank tea calmly, and now he naturally wouldn't be afraid anymore. However, there is no need to worry about whether to accept the two of them, and the basic swordsmanship of the outside world is not a secret that cannot be ignored. I run a kendo gym. As long as I'm not someone who is a big villain, I'll just treat you as ordinary students. Finally, Gung Xiro decided to accept it first before considering the true story to see if he had any talent. Thank you, Master Zheng Sailang. This is the apprenticeship gift and tuition fee. I will trouble you from now on. Gung Xiro calmly accepted Liang Kuai Dao and tuition fees. The matter has been settled. Noah and his wife bought an old house in the village after leaving the dojo, preparing to stay there for a long time. The villages on this side of the East Sea are still very simple. A 2-story Western-style house in the town is very cheap and comes with a complete set of furniture as a gift. The original owner of this house was a small businessman who ran into a pirate ship during a business trip and then disappeared. There has been a lot of dust and small problems in houses that have not been inhabited for a period of time. However, flowers and fruits bloom in 12 rounds. Robin crossed his hands and demonstrated his fruit ability. This is a special training I did during my time in Shihai. At that time, I didn't dare to stay outside for long, and when I was bored at home, I used daily chores to exercise my abilities in flower and fruit, as well as my ability to multitask. Hua Hua Gua is indeed a household helper, with a small hand growing in various places, including those who sweep the floor, those who dust spider webs, those who clean furniture, and those who mop the floor. The cleaning was done in a short while, and the room was as clean as new. Then Noah and Robin went out again to buy some daily necessities, replace some old furniture, and buy some simple ingredients. I was busy until it was dark before I could basically handle it. This is thanks to the various life tricks of flowers and fruits. After dinner, both of them sat on the sofa and didn't want to move anymore. Will we live here for a long time? Robin longed for stability. In the original work, she had to wander around as a last resort. Later, after finding a place to belong in the Straw Hat Troop, she was completely bound to the moving family at sea. It should be a long time, after all, the sails of the times have not yet blown. Saying something Robin couldn't understand, Noah closed his eyes and fell into contemplation. He is about to start laying out. It is now 1503, and the next major event will be the Marjorie incident in 1509, where Fischertag will climb up the Red Earth continent to liberate slaves. He decided to participate in a rehearsal against the world government if possible. This major event is very important, and liberating slaves as the first shot against the world government is definitely the most appropriate. There are still 6 years left, and he needs to have the ability to protect himself in order to participate. He has the power of analysis and is very confident in learning swordsmanship and domineering, but physical exercise cannot be achieved skillfully. Without sufficient physical conditions, one does not even have the qualification to learn arrogance. Kendo is also not an easy burden on the body. How to quickly improve physical fitness requires urgent research. As a somewhat famous writer, the remuneration is really high. Perhaps when Oda set this world, he compared it to the income level and status of Japanese writers. Noah has a lot of popular novels at the level of Rocket. His income will be higher and higher in the future. If he has money, he can buy some herbs that can strengthen his physical exercise. As for the secret treasure of the sea, the devil fruit, he didn't pay much attention to it, except for a few fruits that were attractive to him. Noah's future path is to be invincible to the world. The Navy will be the enemy in the early stages, pirates will always be the enemy, the world government will definitely be the enemy, and the rulers of most countries will also be the enemy. In short, the vast majority of vested interests are enemies and cannot leave obvious weaknesses for themselves. In the next 6 years, what he will do is to cultivate, while improving his revolutionary theoretical framework and serializing novels to earn money. If there is an opportunity, it's best to contact Munch D. Dragon, it will be easier to operate the layout through the power of the Revolutionary Army. If we can't get in touch, let's talk about it after the Maria incident. After thinking through these things, Noah is ready to rest. He will officially start practicing tomorrow and cannot be late. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Practice and Mental Cultivation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Practice and Mental Cultivation. Based on traditional cutting tools, the called Basic Sword Style refers to the 9 types and 13 knives. Today, I will rehearse it once for you to see all of it. Then, according to the progress, I will pass on the style in its original form. Type 1. A skill. $4. Head on. Type 2. 2 or 3 section skills. $2. Type 3. Sweeping technique. 1 knife. Type 4. Type 5. Type 6. After completing the 9th move, Gung Sailang slowly withdrew his sword. Even with a wooden knife, one can feel the imposing aura. After harvesting the knife, Zhengshiro regained his harmless appearance as a human or animal. Undoubtedly, he is a renowned swordsmanship master with a heritage, and his momentum can be transmitted from the heart. Noah's eyes on the small playground were dazzling. Beginner's Basic Sword Style. 30% as a basic swordsmanship skill. Basic swordsmanship is not difficult in itself. As a swordsman, Kenjiro gradually demonstrated and used the power of analysis to learn more. I got started 30% in one go. All basic actions have also been recorded. Even if you no longer observe Noah in the future, you can improve your proficiency in basic sword techniques by practicing on your own. Now, let me teach you the first type, the first 3 swords, 1 big step for Tai Dao, and 2.5 steps back. Gung Sailang is quite attentive to the students who have paid their tuition fees, in addition to practicing and dismantling. Basic Sword Beginner 31%. It seems that there aren't many interpretations given by repeated observation. How much do you remember? Remember everything. Well, that's great. Let's go practice on the playground. I'll correct the movements later. Gengshiro was not surprised. There were no miracles or geniuses in this sea. It's just a basic sword move, and there are many people who remember it after watching it. But what he didn't know was that the boy actually remembered a total of 9 moves. Noah returned to the small playground to exercise with the ordinary disciples. The Frost Moon Dojo is unknown in the East China Sea, but it also has some reputation among several nearby islands. Many families send their children to practice kendo for various reasons. There are also many young people who want to go out to sea and take the initiative to practice, planning to learn for a few years and then go to the sea to gallop. The common people on the sea also yearn for power, and reality makes everyone aware that the role of the sword is greater than words at critical moments. So the children on the playground come in different sizes. There are even bigger ones than Noah, and the younger ones are only 7 or 8 years old. Gengshiro basically refuses. Noah grabbed the wooden knife and began practicing the first move step by step. I don't feel like I can continue practicing the 9 styles after memorizing them. He is not very familiar with kendo, and following the guidance of a swordsman-level teacher is the correct choice. The power of analysis is in analyzing actions, and any lack of coordination within oneself can be clearly seen, which is nothing more than that. Every drop of sweat left behind by carefully wielding each sword is a ladder to success, and Noah hopes that his foundation is as solid as steel. Mature vision and self-control are no less helpful to him than golden fingers. After a while, Gung Sailang came to the playground with a wooden knife to inspect and guide his disciples one by one in their cultivation and correcting some incorrect movements. I was slightly surprised when I saw Noah. Because Noah's sword style is very standard, it should not be in theory. When beginners practice swordsmanship, they will always have their own habits, small movements, or rhythm errors. But Noah was very standard, almost the same as when he was drilling, which surprised Gung Sailang a little. I silently watched for a while before leaving, but I still left some traces in my heart. Perhaps I have experienced a past where the desire for strength surpassed instinct. After lunch, I will continue to practice my first sword move in the afternoon. Noah didn't drag his tired body home until it was getting dark and packing his wooden sword. Robin has prepared the food and is waiting for him to come back. Under the warm light, Noah trembled and held a bowl of rice, trembling as he held the dishes, making Robin smile while nibbling on them. 2 people were chatting while eating, comforting each other with their lonely souls under the dim yellow light. This warm environment makes Robin very reassuring and cherished, and she hopes this kind of life will be forever. She is a smart child, the youngest scholar in O'Hara, and reason tells her that this kind of life will not last long. She will always remember the angry flame in Noah's eyes that day. Although Noah is now hidden, she knows that the world will be shocked and this flame bursts out. After finishing his meal, Robin took the initiative to wash the dishes. To be precise, he crossed his hands and 6 flowers bloomed. The dishes were taken to the kitchen by small hands and started cleaning. Afterwards, the 2 of them went to the study. There are many miscellaneous books in the study, of various types. These are some books purchased on behalf of the World Economic News, which are said to be for reference purposes. Robin would browse through these books in his leisure time, and compared to Noah's purposeful flipping, Robin really enjoys reading. The joy of reading quietly in the study is second only to being with Noah. Like in the West Sea, Noah verbally wrote a new chapter in JoJo's Wonderful Adventure by Robin's handwriting. After becoming the golden finger in one's own soul, the knowledge, books, and memories of film and television works from the previous life seem to solidify into pieces of information. As long as you recall it, it will appear clearly and not occupy any memory in your brain. It is an absolutely thoughtful and user-friendly soul cloud storage. While reciting the novel, Noah was also conceptualizing his own action plan. Occasionally, I also browse through various books to seek evidence and answers, and sometimes when I don't know where, I ask Robin. Then a few small hands will take out the books and hand them to the front, even helping to turn the pages. Noah really wants to talk about flowers and fruits, yyds. I have to rest until 10 o'clock, and both Noah and Robin need to ensure sufficient sleep. After all, their bodies are still growing and cannot be overdrawn. A large amount of exercise every day also requires a good mental state to cope with, and one cannot relax their strength at all. Say good night to each other, and then open your eyes. It's already dawn. The body has fully recovered, and there is still some soreness, but it can be tolerated. I woke up early and ran around the village twice. After going home for breakfast, I set off to continue my practice at the Frost Moon Taoist temple. Still a dull first move, Noah continued to exercise diligently, devoting himself wholeheartedly to wielding his sword again and again. Genshiro took a look and left. For the next month, Noah came over like this. Genshiro didn't teach Noah the second move, so he didn't practice the second move, even if he knew it. He knows Gung Silang's character, so he believes that Gung Silang will not be aimless. Even though other disciples around him have learned the subsequent sword moves, he still continues to practice the first move diligently. Others don't know why Noah is not in a hurry at all, but Noah himself knows that on the panel of the power of analysis, he can see that he is making progress every day. Beginners 40% basic swordsmanship. There is nothing to worry about in this kind of cultivation where progress can be seen. One day a month later, Gung Shiro came back to watch Noah's sword swing for a while and silently thought for a while. Adam, come into the inner room for a moment. Okay, master, two people sitting opposite each other. You are very good. You practice diligently and have both natural talent and the ability to restrain yourself. You are much stronger than others in cultivating your mind, and you will become a strong person. But there are a few issues. 1. Physical fitness. Although you have good nutrition, you started relatively late and had some shortcomings in your body before. A swordsman with weak health cannot reach the peak. But this can be solved. I have a secret medicine formula from the Frost Moon family that can be used in conjunction with body forging. The cost of some medicinal herbs should not be a problem for you. The second problem is even more serious. Your heart is not sincere about swordsmanship. When Noah heard Genshiro say that he could solve his physical fitness problem, he was very happy in his heart. This problem had been troubling him for a while. His soul is special and his spirit is very resilient. But the average physical fitness has slowed down the progress of cultivation. It's really a matter of having more heart than strength. Now that I have a solution, I feel a bit more relaxed in my heart. Although the medicinal materials of the secret medicine are definitely expensive, he can still afford the current manuscript fee. As for the lack of sincerity in one's heart, you don't need to answer my second question for now. Please reply to me after you have completed practicing the basic sword technique. This is a prescription, take it with you. Don't pass it on to others. Yes, Master. I will definitely protect the prescription. Thank you very much for your cultivation. Taking the prescription with both hands, Noah was truly grateful for Genshiro's cultivation heart. Ignoring the hidden dangers, I started my own journey and passed on the Frost Moon's secret medicine to myself. This kindness is too deep. Guai Na, I guarantee your life. The world government cannot take it away, as I said. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Honesty and Sincerity. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Honesty and Sincerity. The next day, Genshiro passed on the second formula to Noah. Take a big step with Tai Dao and turn around with the second sword. Introduction to Basic Swordsmanship. 41% after passing it, he continued to guide others, and Noah had a new sword style to practice. Now Noah trains his body for half a day in the morning and practices kendo for half a day in the afternoon. A place for exercising was also built deep in the forest. Combining knowledge of previous sports, I run around the island beach every morning, swim near the sea with a heavy load, and shuttle through the forest carrying logs. The medicinal herbs on the Frost Moon's secret medicine have been carefully separated. Although Gung Shiro did not emphasize it specifically, he has also learned to be cautious after being wanted by the world government for so long. I have purchased many medicinal herbs from different channels, all of which are indeed precious. Noah's current financial situation is somewhat difficult. The medicinal herbs were purchased in duplicate, and Robin also needed them. Noah believes that even a demon fruit-capable person with a good body can better stimulate the fruit's ability. Reading at home all day is not a good idea, and exercise should also be arranged. Although Robin's face was full of reluctance, he was still dragged out of the house every morning by Noah to exercise. Afterwards, Noah learned swordsmanship at a rate of 1 sword per month in Frost Moon Taoist Temple, breaking the record for the slowest swordsmanship learning in the temple. Many young people have finished learning and left. He is still practicing simple sword techniques. The attention and whispers of people around him cannot affect his exercise. The time has also come to 1504. There have been no major events at sea this year, and Noah is also focused on continuing to exercise, continuing to hibernate in a corner of the East China Sea. For a full 9 months, Noah finally finished learning the basic 9 types and 13 swords. In 9 months, the body has completely made up for the previous deficit and become more robust and coordinated. Physical fitness. 20:10 Strength. 18:10 Speed. 21:10 Skills. Shaving. Beginner level 10%, average physical condition, not recommended for use, overlord color with a domineering aura of 11%, 13% proficient in basic sword style by 1% yes, Noah's basic sword style has reached mastery. After mastering, one can feel that the sword is more smooth and the strength between sword swings is stronger. The physical condition has also improved, although there is still a slight gap from using the physical skill of shaving. It is estimated that the conditions for use should be met in a few months. Frost Moon is worthy of being one of the 5 major families of the Kingdom of Harmony, and the effect of the secret medicine is too good. After entering mastery, Zhengshiro watched Noah practice swordsmanship for a longer and more serious period of time. He is also very conflicted. Why is such a talented swordsman not sincere about swordsmanship? In Zhengshiro's view, Noah's swordsmanship is incredibly solid. If he has a deep understanding of swordsmanship schools and practical experience, he can quickly become a well-known swordsman in the world. Even if one continues to cultivate on this foundation, there is a great chance to become a swordsman. Finally, one day, Zhengshiro informed Noah to come directly to the inner room for a detailed discussion tomorrow. The next day. Noah, can you answer my second question now? Why aren't you so sincere about kendo? Master, before going to O'Hara, I was originally from Donghai. Living in an ordinary village, the village was later conquered, and the flames of family slaughter ignited the entire village. I was kidnapped by a pirate ship and worked as a laborer. I was on the brink of death and was later arrested by a slave ship and caught as a slave. Master, have you ever seen people being locked in cages one by one? Dignity, life, everything does not belong to oneself. Speaking, Noah revealed the slave mark on his arm. Hey, is that why you crave power? Kendo is also a kind of power. The more devout it is, the stronger it becomes. No, after experiencing the O'Hara incident, I realized that power is only my assistance in achieving goals, not my ultimate pursuit. So whether it's physical skills, swordsmanship, or domineering, I don't reject or rely on them. Gung Shiro was deeply puzzled by what kind of goal made a young man speak such bold words. Noah took out a very thin book without a name from his pocket. I solemnly handed it over to Zhengshiro, which was his 9-month hard work. Master, my thoughts and goals are all written in this book. Gung Shiro opened the first page of the table of contents. 1. Highly developed social productivity and greatly enriched material wealth, the elimination of 2 classes and the self-destruction of the state. The spiritual realm has greatly improved, the freedom and comprehensive development of 4 people, the complete liberation of all humanity. This, a burst of uncontrollable sword energy ravaged the quiet room, cutting apart the calligraphy in paintings hanging on the wall, and creating crisscrossing sword marks on the floor. A swordsman with a heritage should not have done this, but at this moment, Gung Silang's mind has been taken away, and his sword heart is like being swept away by a storm and can no longer be controlled. It took him a while to calm down, and he didn't even dare to look through the remaining content. The more you understand how terrifying the ideas in this book are. This is a thought that can destroy the world, and what's even more terrifying is that this book has a magical power that makes people want to imagine the world in the book when they are afraid. A hoarse voice sounded, "Are you trying to destroy this world?" "No, it's breaking the old world and creating a new one. Even if the sea of blood is raging, countless people will die as a result." Yes, even if the sea of blood is raging, countless people will die as a result. Gung Silang looked at the unfamiliar disciple in front of him and saw the fearless eyes that had reignited. His open gaze made him feel at a loss for the first time. After pondering for a long time, he picked up the thin booklet again and started reading it. The expression is sometimes puzzled, sometimes suddenly enlightened, sometimes frowning tightly, sometimes smiling, sometimes sweating profusely, sometimes laughing heartily. A booklet showed Zhengshiro the sunset. "I understand, with your courage, swordsmanship, physical skills, and dominance, these paths cannot limit you. But you are too dangerous. Master, if you feel embarrassed, I can leave Frost Moon Village in the next few days. Silence for a long time, no need, rest well and come directly to the backyard of the dojo tomorrow afternoon. There are some things on the kendo that will be helpful for your path. I'm not very proficient in domineering, but it's still possible to lay a foundation for you." Noah looked up in surprise. "Yes," I stepped down, picking up the book. Noah easily left the dojo. After Noah left, Zhengshiro sat in the messy quiet room, unsure of what he was thinking. After a while, I walked out of the quiet room and looked at the silver moon in the sky. Ancestor, an incredible person has appeared on this vast sea, and if he can survive, he will surely create unprecedented achievements. Perhaps this sea can no longer calm down. I really don't know if I'm doing it right or not." Noah, who returned home, was also very happy. If possible, he really wants to continue his cultivation in Frost Moon Village. Although Master Zhengsilang did not directly express his opinion this time, at least he is willing to continue teaching him, which makes him very happy. Robin asked him why he was so happy, and Noah also mentioned the attitude of Master Zhengshiro today. After learning about it, Robin was even happier than the person involved because he didn't have to leave Frost Moon Village and could continue living with Noah in this peaceful village. Seeing Robin's smiling face, Noah felt a wave of guilt. He knew why Robin was happy and also knew what danger his future path would bring to the two of them. "But I didn't have a choice," Robin didn't have a choice, even the world that forced me here didn't have a choice. The CP department of the world government has been secretly searching for the orphan of O'Hara. He doesn't want to see Robin being betrayed or sold out like the original. Finally, he was captured by CP9 and experienced a life and death crisis. For a brighter future, he can only change this world and let the fire of O'Hara burn down the entire world. Let this pathological world come to life. I have taken stock of the recent progress in achieving my goals. Kendo has found its way forward, including dominance, and the flowing Sakura dominance of the country of harmony is well known in the New World. The framework of the ideological program has also been established, and at least the knowledgeable people in the pirate world are relatively recognized, specifically referring to Master Zhengsilang. As for the first installment of JoJo's wonderful adventure, Phantom Blood has been serialized and is preparing for the second battle trend. This adventure-themed graphic novel has become popular throughout the sea. Both the pirates and the navy love the cool design of the middle two inside, as well as the shameful lines spoken. It is said that the great pirate Whitebeard of the New World is a loyal reader of this novel. This gossip was spread by the editor-in-chief of the World Economic News Agency and him in his letters. As for the manuscript fee, it will naturally be raised to another level. I also signed for the release of the first novels bound edition. Most of the goals have developed very well, but there is no way to start with the matter of connecting with the Revolutionary Army. Now is also the early stage of the Revolutionary Army, very cautious. Old Thief Oda's description of the Revolutionary Army is also very limited and can only be temporarily put on hold. If it's really not possible, you can also find the dragon by following Kurla in the future. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Cultivation and Training. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Cultivation and Training. In fact, Frost Moon Flow swordsmanship does not have specific moves, and all high-end swordsmanship will not have specific sword-style sword moves. The sword moves that resound across the sea are all self-created by top swordsmen in their swordsmanship philosophy. For example, the ancestor of the Frost Moon family, Frost Moon Dragon Horse, had a move called Slash the Dragon, which was a strike that was triggered by the feeling of chopping down a dragon. Intentionally using moves during battles with experts is meaningless. Only by honing the heart, sword, and body to the extreme and then condensing them into one, and combining them with each other's beliefs to strike a slash, can the winner be determined. As he spoke, Gung Silang pulled out his words and slowly drew a sword towards the distant forest. With a flying slash, he cut through the trees, causing them to fall. He quickly swung his sword again, but the cotton cloth in front of him remained unscathed. Do you see? Kendo is both simple and difficult to say. There are swordsmen in this world who constantly chop everything, as well as swordsmen who can cut everything off. This is the foundation of a swordsman. Feel your breath, and when you can cut off the steel, your swordsmanship will rise to another level. When you can achieve truly condensed flying slashes, you will become a swordsman. Basic Kendo covered by Frost Moon Kendo. Frost Moon Sword Master 5%. The straightforward explanation to the core and the lightweight explanation of what a swordsman is. This is the foundation of the Frost Moon family. As for being domineering, your body is not strong enough to continue exercising with the dominance of armed colors. Seeing and hearing colors will naturally comprehend the breathing of swords, which is the path of orthodox swordsmanship. This is the secret medicine formula for the next stage. Let's solve it ourselves. Since he has decided to continue guiding Noah, Jangshiro will no longer hide his secrets. The samurai must have their own judgment, sharp like a sword. Also, if you have time, you can go to the nearby sea to deal with some pirates. Swordsmen are not trained. I'll check the progress in a year, and if it's suitable, I'll pass on your dominance. Jangshiro bluntly stated that swords are deadly weapons, and swordsmanship is the art of killing. No beautiful statement can conceal it, and this is all a fact. His own swordsman realm was also achieved by killing pirates. He also secretly traveled to the Great Root, where only his opponents could put him between life and death and unleash his potential. Once upon a time, there was a swordsman who shone like moonlight and left no name on the great voyage, but took away the heads of dozens of great pirates. After finishing speaking, Jangshiro left, and the rest of the way depends on Noah himself. No swordsman has been taught by hand. The communication and dialogue with Jangshiro helped Noah understand the positioning of a strong maritime power. Through Gung Shiro's description of the realm of swordsmanship, Noah also set a benchmark for his analytical power. A master-level swordsmanship is a swordsman level, a perfect-level swordsmanship is a top swordsman level, and a transcendent-level swordsman is a great swordsman level. Basically, at least one of the 4 emperors and 3 generals in the future will reach the level of transcendence, or even no less than 1. For that level, there is basically no weakness left for oneself. After receiving the new Frost Moon secret recipe, Noah collected medicinal herbs through his own channels and continued to exercise even more crazily. It is now 1504, and there are still 5 years left until the Marjorie incident in 1509. The goal he has set for his own strength in the past 5 years is to break through the swordsmanship level and achieve mastery of dominance, with the best goal being to break through to the master level. Noah now has a lot of movies, TV shows, and anime works in his mind. Isn't it easy to come up with a few abnormal exercise methods? Let the memories of the previous life become the nourishment for advancing in this life. After combining the imagination of the previous world with the reality of this world, a training method that amazed Gengshiro was created. The way of exercising the body started with Waterfall Fist and was inspired by the Saint Fighter series. Saints, needless to say, a group of fists cut through the sky, and feet can kick apart the Goddess Protection Organization of the Earth. Waterfall Boxing, endorsed by Libra, who overturns Mount Lu. Originally, there were no waterfalls in Frost Moon Village, and even if we came up with this solution, we couldn't implement it. But this world is not so scientific. Please invite Master Jengsalang to the river behind the island, and with a stunning flying strike, a waterfall will be carved out. By the way, Frost Moon sword technique is 6% proficient. Practicing martial arts under the waterfall, there are occasional rolling trees and boulders falling from the river, combined with the Frost Moon secret medicine level 1 stick effect. Master Jengsalang agreed upon it after seeing it. If you want to practice like this, your body will soon be able to hone its armed color and dominance. Because if you can't practice it, you may die in a few days. Seeing and hearing the domineering cultivation, Robin took a different approach by blindfolded and using his flower and fruit abilities to throw stones from all directions, while Noah used his own wooden knife to chop stones. This not only honed swordsmanship, but also enhanced the sensation of seeing and hearing colors, as well as enhanced Robin's fruiting ability, killing 3 birds with 1 stone. At the beginning, Noah was bruised and swollen all over from the impact, and Robin couldn't bear to take action for a while, but he continued to exercise under the comfort. Later, even with blindfolded eyes, he was able to strike every stone, and his ears were also blocked, returning to the form of a swollen Noah. A month later, I felt like I could hit the stone, but I still couldn't see or hear it, just a feeling of wanting to come out. Noah understood that this training method had come to an end. He wants to search for answers between life and death. Current panel data. Physical fitness. 30 strength. 28 speed. 29 skills. Shaving. Beginner level 10%, barely fit, not recommended for use. Overlord color with a domineering aura of 11%, 13% Frost Moon sword master 7% wearing a sword on his back. He disguised himself as a pirate hunter, calmed Robin Noah, and prepared to depart. I plan to wander between the East China Sea for a month this time, seeking breakthroughs. Boarding a passing merchant ship, Noah officially set sail under the pseudonym Klein Moretti. This is a tribute to the great fool. After all, a vest is the fate of a fool. Navigation on the sea is extremely boring, but the captain of a merchant ship, Old Neil, likes it very much. The more boring it is, the safer it is. This is a small commercial ship sailing around various islands in the East China Sea. The sailors on the ship work part-time as guards, so what kind of sense of security can they have? When I was in Frost Moon Village, there was a pirate hunter who wanted to take a boat and could serve as a guard as long as the boat fee was waived. At first, this kind of good thing made Old Neil hesitate for a moment before refusing. After all, the older the bird, the more it understood that pies would not fall from the sky. However, after the pirate hunter took out the introduction letter from the owner of Frost Moon Village Kendo, Old Neil changed his attitude and readily agreed to Mr. Klein boarding the ship. Of course, there is no cost for security, so we need to respect Mr. Klein's original intention. The reason why Neil changed his attitude is because he knows that the owner of Frost Moon Village is a capable person. There are occasional boat trips to nearby islands to learn arts, and Frost Moon Village has not been captured by pirates in recent years. So the captains who mix in this sea area all have a high regard for the strong man Gengshiro. By boarding this pirate hunter, the safety of the ship can still be improved before he disembarks. Of course, it's just a few, and caution is still necessary. Pirate hunters do not necessarily mean they are strong. Generally, the way pirate hunters hunt pirates is by tracking a pirate with a low bounty and using various methods to assassinate the target when these pirates are not on guard. For example, chiseling boats, setting fires, poisoning, using lime powder, stabbing knives and creating traps behind the back, and so on, rarely engage in direct combat. The reason why the bounty is not high is because the strength is there. At a certain level of strength, these despicable tactics are not as effective, so the risk of assassination is higher. The attributes of pirate hunters are similar to those of maned dogs. They have a bad character and don't mind eating carrion. They are good at bullying the weak and afraid of the hard. Most hunters really don't have much strength. Isn't it good to be a pirate with strong abilities? People like Sauron are completely different from pirate hunters. No pirate hunter would chase a pirate and kill him head-on. The reason why axe-maker Monka humiliates Sauron so much is because he believes that it's just a matter of binding the pirate hunter lousy. Back on the merchant ship. Because it is a merchant ship, the internal space is filled with goods. Noah had to lean against the cargo at the stern of the ship. Looking at the distant sea, feeling the undulating waves, silently practicing sword meditation. This move comes from the Death series. The Reaper inside will communicate with his soul-slaying blade through sword meditation to unleash incredible power. In the absence of exercise, Noah had no choice but to try this kind of exercise, which had no known effect. With my eyes wide open, the sea breeze blew, and as I listened to the chirping of seagulls, I gradually calmed down. All I could hear was my own breathing. Breath suck, breathe suck. At this moment, he seemed to feel something flashing by on the distant sea surface, and upon closer inspection, there was nothing. But deep down, I feel like something huge is approaching. Although Noah didn't see anything, he trusted his intuition more and stood up with his sword to be on guard. "Mr. Klein, what can I do for you? There is danger." Afterwards, Noah ignored the sailor's commotion and focused his senses to the fullest. After waiting for 5 minutes, the sea remained motionless. The sailors dispersed and went to do their own business, secretly accusing this pirate hunter of being unreliable. Here we go. With a bang, a black shadow rushed out of the sea, casting a shadow that enveloped the entire merchant ship. Sea beasts. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Technology and Foolish People. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Technology and Foolish People. The body of the cow-headed fish has 2 pairs of large fangs exposed to the outside, and there are 3 pairs of shark wings on the fish. At first glance, it looks a bit ugly and cute, but when enlarged to about 50 meters, the huge creature is only ferocious. The seawater shattered by the sea beasts poured down heavily on the ship, and everyone on board dared not move, losing their ability to move in fear. As for Noah, he was highly mentally nervous, holding the sword handle without any movement, and even restrained his spirit around him to no longer diverge. At this time, pulling out the sword was likely to stimulate the sea beast. With Noah's current strength, he cannot deal with sea beasts of this level. At least he needs to have the ability to cut through steel in order to harm the opponent. Large sea animals dive deep into the ocean year-round, and even if they have a special structure when facing the pressure of the sea, their bodies are basically made of steel and iron. We can't go out to sea for a week, the protagonist must die. The bull-headed sea beast swayed its head and swept around the merchant ship, then its 2 tall eyes fixed on Noah. This sea beast was attracted by a strange force, as if it were a call. But now this power is gone again. It's strange. After waiting for a while, its mind couldn't figure it out. Forget it, with a flick of the tail, another wave of waves will be stirred up and dive into the sea to eat. This kind of small person on the sea is not delicious. Everyone on the ship exhaled and collapsed one after another on the ground. Some sailors simply fainted from fear. Noah also relaxed and let go of the handle of the knife. Although pulling the knife was not very useful at the time, the courage to resist could not be lost. A sea breeze blew and I felt a chill on my back, which turned out to be covered in cold sweat. When I come to my senses heard and seen colorful dominance beginner level 1%, this can also be considered a life and death crisis, and the spirit is concentrated in an instant to force the completion of one mind's collection and release. This is even more dangerous than facing pirates. After all, the vast majority of pirates in the four seas are rarely stronger than sea kings, let alone in the vast sea. The name, Sea King, is very realistic. If the sea beasts really want to destroy this ship, Noah will have to take the risk of unleashing a domineering aura. But his domineering demeanor is just at an entry-level, and he has no control over the mental pressure. As long as he releases it, it will affect everyone present. Unless Noah kills the entire ship, the news cannot be blocked at all. Noah will not underestimate the interrogation methods of the world government spy agencies, nor overestimate the good and evil of human nature. Why do people who are not relatives or relatives keep it confidential for themselves? At that time, the mad dog of CP9 will definitely track down and follow the way to Frost Moon Village, bringing destruction to Frost Moon Village. After this incident, Noah gained a profound understanding of the danger of the sea. Unpredictable sea kings, pirate ships that appear at any time, the lives of ordinary people in this era of great pirates are too difficult. With a loud bang, old Neil knelt down on the deck, muttering prayers. Thanks and blessings to all the sea gods. Then, I didn't know where to find some sacrifices and threw them into the sea, which ended. It is very common to worship the sea god on this sea, especially the old captain who believes in it. After the devout sacrifice, old Neil decided to improve the atmosphere on the ship, as sailors have been sailing on dry seas for a long time, and if their mental state is not good, terrible things can happen. Little ones, let's take an extra day off on the next island. Each person will also receive an additional 10,000 Baileys in bonuses. Oh, long live Captain! The originally frightened crew members were comforted by this primitive and crude way of motivation, which dispersed the atmosphere of panic on the ship. Human beings themselves are both fragile and resilient contradictions. Shouting the horn and continuing forward. The next island is just one day away, so take Bailey to the tavern and have 2 glasses of rum to brag about with the other crew members. The Sea King species, a 50-meter-long Sea King species, is there anything worth boasting about more than having seen this before? I almost died in the sea this time. It's not excessive to ask a little girl to relax. With such a mindset, the atmosphere on the ship quickly rose. The demands of the lower-class civilians are easily met, and the stimulation of the sailors is so simple and unadorned. However, since Noah revealed his foresight of danger, old Neil and the sailors began to have some reverence for Noah. They don't know if Noah was blinded at the time or if he really had a premonition of danger, but ultimately it was a bit mysterious. People who have some brains on the sea will not be without awe of the unknown and mystery. If you say a person can run a horse on their arm and stand on their fist, then everyone knows that this is not easy to provoke and just stay away from them. But mystery doesn't necessarily matter, and it's not always possible to avoid it. Sea horror stories have a great market. Various ghost ships, mysterious wizards, curses, and the like are particularly popular. This made Noah realize that under the rule of the world government, the policies implemented towards the lower-class people were still ignorant. Otherwise, it is difficult to explain why people still fear mysterious forces in this vast sea where technology is so advanced. In Noah's view, the technological level of the One Piece world is higher than in previous lifetimes. The Wanli sunshine created by the Hades blueprint is simply unscientific under the guise of technology. What is the power of Coca-Cola? What kind of technological level can achieve that level? Science and technology are the primary productive forces, and high-tech and its industries have promoted a significant increase in labor productivity. Every major technological advancement in human history has greatly innovated labor tools, improved or updated labor objects, and enhanced the quality of labor. It has also changed the position and combination of various factors of productivity in production, leading to a significant increase in labor productivity and bringing great impetus to economic and social development. In cutting-edge technology, Bergepunk, a groundbreaking scientist, mass-produced the pacifist program. The technology during this period involves human body modification, machine creation, demon fruit ability extraction and imitation, intelligent systems, and so on, which is a bug. The scraps he researched also created Jelma's genetic technology and Caesar Curon's artificial demon fruit technology. Not to mention these advanced technologies. Speaking of steam power alone, it has also been widely promoted in daily life along with electricity. This is equivalent to having already completed the first and second industrial revolutions in a previous life. According to reason, the people's minds should also be liberated with the progress of technology. With technological innovation, there should be a large number of capitalist classes emerging and questioning the existing divine system of monarchy. The descendants of the 20 kings and the bloodline of the Creator will be crushed by the wheels of history. But now, the myths and lies woven by world governments are still operating normally. This distorted political system is still being maintained. There are few pure capitalists on the sea, and most of them are simple and violent groups commanded by personal force. This should be a world where personal strength surpasses that of the working masses. It seems that the task of smashing the old world is a long and arduous one. We must unite high-end forces that can be united, eliminate the ruling class that rides on the sea, and thoroughly clean up before we can break the shackles on the people's heads. As for the promotion of technology at the grassroots level and the construction of spiritual civilization, it should also be carried out simultaneously. On this vast sea, revolution must go from top to bottom as well as from bottom to top. After thinking about these things, Overlord Color and Domineering Aura plus 1% Noah thought while taking notes. After each trip, I will take notes of my insights and slowly organize them when I return to Frost Moon Village. The next morning, the merchant ship docked at the port of Morro Island, which was located near the middle of the East China Sea. The nearest naval branch had a 2-day journey, and the distance was just right. Some large pirates do not dock here for supplies, while small pirates do not matter. The Navy fleet will not deploy for a few pirates with a bounty of less than 10 million belials. Nowadays, the ocean is still in the early stages of the Great Pirate Era, with various troublemakers emerging one after another. The Navy is also very busy every day. As long as it is not too much, it can just turn a blind eye and pass by. After docking, old Neil left behind a few unlucky people to watch the ship with him, and the remaining sailors scattered to find their own fun. I was supposed to take a day off and leave, but I promised the sailors an extra day off, so I had to fulfill my promise. Old Neil doesn't want to be shot in the back. There are many captains who have died here. The loading and unloading of goods are naturally carried out by the upper labor of the dock, which are organized port gangs that specialize in organizing people to do some manual labor. Just a few people need to watch the loading and unloading. Working in a port like this also requires finding connections. Moving goods is a cash settlement, which is a benefit for many people. Noah was slowly recording beside him, which was also part of the research. In addition to enhancing our strength, it is also important to investigate the production and living patterns of the people in the East China Sea during this trip. The gang didn't pay attention to him when they saw him writing and drawing with a pen and paper. If the sea doesn't affect oneself, one should learn to mind their own business. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Cutting Iron, Success. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Cutting Iron, Success. The next day, Noah was ready to start. Blood Hand. Bar. The leader of the Blood Hand Pirates Regiment is 10 million Bailey. Blood washed multiple villages and defeated the Grand Marshal of the 77 branches in the East China Sea. Bar, that's a popular name and a completely new bandit account. This is the target chosen by Noah for this hunt. According to intelligence from black market merchants, Bar is currently in Moro village. It is said that they are preparing to trade slaves with a slave ship. Blood Hand Bar is currently the most common type of pirate on the sea, engaging in all sorts of crimes such as burning, killing, and plundering, and also capturing some children as slaves for sale. Anyway, nobles love these tunes the most. A child can sell a lot of Baileys. This time I came to Moro village to trade ball with people. It was actually quite low-key, but the little brother I brought was not low-key. After drinking a few glasses of wine, I didn't have to ask anything. Pirates boast about how many bad things they have done and how many people they have killed. The little girl who was selling alcohol praised her for saying that it was enough to say whether Ball was wearing underwear or not. This kind of well-known news is earned by black market merchants selling small amounts of money. Of course, these are the only things that cannot be obtained from Bailey. By the way, let me tell Noah Bale that he is currently in a corner of a residential area far from the port, and that it is trading time at night, so he took the money and left. The residential area transaction was unexpected by Noah. This crude pirate, besides being ferocious, was also very cunning. It would be really difficult if it weren't for bringing a little brother who didn't keep the door open. Ball felt bitter in his heart, but he didn't say anything. The crew members who escorted the slaves with him this time have been carefully selected, and he wouldn't take this little brother out of the ship if there was still someone with a normal mind on board. What are the people who work as pirates in the 4 seas? First of all, illiteracy is a high probability. Ordinary people come from ordinary backgrounds, lack skills, have no bottom line, and are cowardly scum. Give them a knife, and it's normal for them to run faster and faster when the wind blows, followed by burning, killing, and looting when the wind blows. Those even more evil pirates will to some extent embark on great voyages. Those who stay in the 4 seas are at this level. Noah first slowly approached the residential area, then disguised himself to some extent and hid the knife. No longer casually passing by the residential houses at the trading location. Observing with leftover light, there were 4 small minions standing at the entrance, and after taking a detour, 2 small minions were also seen at the entrance. Be careful to let go of the newly introduced sight, smell, and aura, and then circle around again. This time, I vaguely sensed that there were 2 residential buildings nearby with people staring at the trading location. After checking, I found out that they were still on guard. This bar is okay, isn't it too cautious? It shouldn't be easy to deal with. Noah decided to make more preparations and catch Ball and the slave traders in the evening. Although seeking breakthroughs in swordsmanship, he needs to first clean up the factors outside the field. Being brave and not scheming is not his path. Tactically, it is to first clean up the pirates on the perimeter and then drive them out of the house through the back door to avoid accidentally injuring the slaves inside. During this period, he used traps to trim his wings, and finally rushed to the decisive battle point to kill his opponent before retreating. The battle plan formulated by the Reference Soul series can be regarded as the standard textbook for small-scale stealth warfare, which is exchanged by countless players from other worlds with their lives. First, 2 packs of lime powder were prepared, and then iron nails were scattered in the alley at the back door. As night falls, hunting is about to begin. Around dinner time, a slave trader with 4 subordinates entered the trading location. Noah also began to take action. First, clean up the pirates in the residential area, flip through the room, slow down, hold your breath, cover your mouth, cut your throat, and lay them down in one fell swoop. This is not Noah's first time killing someone. Shortly after arriving in this world, he stabbed and killed a pirate who was guarding him. At that time, he was only 12 years old. The same process was followed, and the hidden sentry in another house was also resolved, followed by 2 people from the back door. Knocked on the wall at the corner. It seems like someone. Lou, you go take a look. Damn it, it's me again. The pirate named Lou reluctantly walked over, but after turning the corner, there was no sound. The remaining pirate waited for 2 minutes without responding, thinking it was wrong and preparing to sound a warning, but it was already too late. With Noah's current physical condition, 2 minutes is enough for him to take a detour and run to the rear after killing someone. Cover your mouth, wipe your neck, drag away, you're just a skilled worker. Noah said, only a wolf is with me. Sprinkle iron nails at the back entrance and then detour near the main entrance to prepare for a fierce killing. There are no more tactics available when 4 people stand together. Taking a deep breath, holding the handle of the knife, slowly walked towards the main entrance of the residential building, restrained in spirit, and opened upon seeing, hearing, and seeing. What kind of person? Kid, get out of here and come here to kill you. If you don't hear me, keep moving forward faster and faster, go fast, jog, accelerate, sprint. The gradual rhythm made the pirate at the entrance feel wrong, but it was too late. Noah's speed at 29 o'clock now exceeds that of ordinary people by too much. Before the pirates can draw out their weapons, Noah's figure with a bloody aura is approaching. Shedding, pulling out his sword and chopping, the first pirate fell with confusion. Turn your wrist, cut off your robe, and 2 pirates behind you will be cut through together. Finally, reverse the robe and take away the last person's life. Until the 4th person fell, the enemies still did not withdraw their weapons. There is no need to name the moves before, they are all basic sword moves. Quick, fierce, and accurate are enough. Kasaya cut refers to cutting from one's upper right direction to one's lower left direction. The reverse cassock chopping is just the opposite. The reason for describing it this way is that it gives people a feeling of being more swordsmen. At this moment, Noah felt his knife so cold and his heart so hot that he broke through the door and killed directly. After the screams at the door came into the room, everyone quickly pulled out their weapons, and those who were licking blood with knives were already mentally prepared for this situation. At the moment the door was broken open, a white powder spread out. 2 packs of lime powder were thrown out, and a knife slashed and rushed forward with force. Most of the people in the room were taken advantage of and then rushed into the crowd, killing each other indiscriminately. Noah's good swordsmanship is partly due to the enemy's momentary panic and limited visibility. Ordinary pirates can't bear this. Have you not seen the invincible Miao Renfeng and Miao Daxian, Flying Fox in Snowy Mountain, who are also restricted everywhere even after being blind? However, not everyone was hit, and Bar and his deputy were very alert and took 2 steps back. Seeing Noah's momentum too strong, he decisively retreated towards the back door. As soon as he pushed the door open, Bar noticed that the 2 little boys guarding the back door were missing, and he immediately slowed down to observe the surroundings. And the deputy ran past Bar with no AC count, perhaps grateful that he ran faster than the boss today. Ah, u/*/.%UN hashtag, with a scream of agony, his second hand covered his foot and rolled forward. Humph, iron nail, it's really despicable. Bar stepped on his assistant and continued to charge forward. At this point, Noah also finished killing the people in the room, shook his sword, shook off the blood on the sword, and looked at it. The quality of the rolling blade was still good. At this point, the only living person in the room is the children in the cage. After thinking for a moment, the nearby pirates have been completely killed and there is no danger. Let's go chase Ball first. There must be someone in the town coming to watch after such a big commotion, we can't stay in place. He picked up his knife and walked away. At the back door, he saw his assistant who was still rolling, casually swiping him off the road, and then he chased after him fiercely. When chasing after an intersection, I suddenly caught sight of the danger and leaned back, flipped over, and retreated into the alley. At this moment, a few strands of hair were falling from the air. Bar walked out from the corner shadow with a knife in hand. Cut, it's a pity. Fortunately, before coming, I had already learned about the basics, otherwise I would have just hung up. A life and death journey made Noah realize how cruel and cunning his opponent was. Do you know that the last guy who wanted my life was cut off by me and hung on the mast for 2 days before dying? I don't know how many days you can survive, thief haha. Noah raised his sword and remained silent. Why don't you come and join me if you have good skills? As my first mate, let's cross the East China Sea together, treasure, and beauty. Whatever you want, how about it? Noah still raised his sword and remained silent. Bar first threatened, but when he saw no use, he switched to using gold and silver beauties to lure and shake the enemy's mentality. But my own cunning methods are useless, and I know this is indeed a formidable enemy. Don't speak anymore, if you speak again, you will fall into a disadvantage. Both sides drew their swords opposite each other and then drew their swords together. In a blink of an eye, they switched positions. Noah frowned. In an instant, Noah swung out 3 swords, but Baal only swung out 2. However, there was no bleeding in the area where Baal swung his sword. I admit that your swordsmanship is much better than mine, but you have expended so much energy before, and if you can't win quickly, it will be you who will die. Watching the metallic reflection under Bar's torn clothes, Noah understood how cunning this pirate was. But so what? Breath, calm down and feel the breath of the sword. Slowly, Noah raised his knife. Raising his eyes to look at Baal, his lifeless gaze made Baal feel uneasy. A sense of death wrapped around my heart. The last time I had this feeling was when I first went out to sea. Baal added a mouthful of blood and rushed over, believing that it would still not be him who died this time. Once again intertwined. I bet wrong this time. Noah's sword broke, and Bar was split in 2. Slash the Iron Realm, success. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Return and Assessment. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Return and Assessment. A month later, a passenger ship docked at the pier. Mr. Klein Moretti set foot on the land of Frost Moon Village. Go to a secluded corner to remove the old disguise, replace it with a new one, and Mr. Adam will go online again. Noah's schedule for this month has been very full. After all, time is limited and he has rushed several events. Hunt 3 captains of millions, 2 small pirate ships, and 1 slave hunting ship. You can hear new East China Sea legends on the return journey. The reason why it is a legend is that Noah always has a disguise before making a move, and each appearance is different. And the pirates hunted never exchange for bounties. Noah is an extremely evil ghost wanted by the world government, so be vigilant. What if you are caught exchanging bounties with the Navy? There are all kinds of situations on this sea, with strange people and strange warriors emerging endlessly. If anyone could see through the disguise of Noah, it would be cool. Since you often walk by the river, where can you keep your shoes wet? Then don't go to the river and it's over. Moreover, Noah's economic situation is very good, and there is no need to take risks for such a small reward. Of course, if it were a bounty at the level of the 4th Emperor, he wouldn't go either. As we approached our doorstep, we saw Robin standing at the window, looking into the distance. He accelerated and rushed home, while Robin jumped and threw himself into Noah's arms. Noah, I miss you so much. I miss you too much. Holding Robin, Noah felt a sense of peace and tranquility in her heart. The gruesome atmosphere brought about by the bloody fighting during this period has dissipated. Robin, I brought you a gift. Open the bag and take out 2 books. Dang. 2 isolated historical books, are the history of a country on an island in the East China Sea. That country has been destroyed, but the book has been passed down. Do you like it? Oh. I like it. For Robin, history books he hasn't read, have a huge appeal. Although she wished she could go back to the house and read a book immediately, she still wanted to accompany Noah more. The 2 of them returned to the sofa, and Noah quietly told Robin about the month's experience. Of course, it's an edited version, and many of the content is not suitable for children to listen to. He doesn't want Robin to live in a dark world. I didn't finish until I was hungry. After a simple meal together, Noah went back to the house to rest. Be vigilant when going out during this period, only when you return home can you relax. I was too mentally exhausted and soon fell asleep. The next morning, Noah's biological clock made him wake up naturally, and he stretched lazily from his familiar bed. After washing up, he walked into the forest training ground with a sword in his hand. Sitting under the waterfall, I began to organize a month's harvest. Current panel data. Physical fitness. 40 strength. 38 speed. 41 skills. Shaving. Beginner 10% Overlord color with a domineering aura of 12%, 14% Frost Moon Sword Technique Mastery, 30% Seeing, Hearing, and Being Domineering, beginner level 20%. The harvest from this trip was huge, and there should be a connection between the first official voyage and the first life and death battle. A physique of 40 points has reached the standard for practicing the 6 styles of the Navy. The high speed movement of shaving greatly increased Noah's combat power. In the initial stage of a 1.on.1 battle, speed is the key to determining the outcome. The dominance has increased slightly because it has further improved the revolutionary framework. Noah found that the concept of changing the world was bound to his own dominant color, and whenever there was a breakthrough in his thinking, his dominant color would also rise. On the night of Killing Ball, the Frost Moon Sword Technique surged by 20% as it barely broke through the iron-slaying realm. There were several bloody battles afterwards, and it only rose to 30%. The further you go, the more difficult it becomes. Currently, the state of slaying iron is not stable, and you must adjust the state in advance to use it. There are many flaws in actual combat. A week ago, it was this flaw that almost caused Noah to crash. So we need to continue practicing hard. It is estimated that when we are proficient in Frost Moon Sword Technique by 50%, we can proficiently use the unprepared iron-slaying realm. The more you experience, the more you grow. The battles on the sea really help to see and hear the rapid growth of colors. After all, if you see or hear something bad, you may have been shot dead by a black gun long ago. The East China Sea is already like this. If we go on the Great Route, we won't be able to take off. After finishing the inventory, Noah went home to have breakfast and then visited Master Gengsairo. Seeing Noah slowly retracting his sword, Gengsairo smiled with satisfaction. You are indeed a genius in swordsmanship, you have made such rapid progress in just 1 month. Thanks to the Master's guidance, only then can the disciples find the direction to move forward. So, come and spar with me. Hey! Noah did not expect Master Gengsairo to have this proposal. After a moment of confusion, a sense of war surged out of my heart. Waving a knife at a strong person, how can you resist this temptation? He also wants to know the difference between himself and the swordsman himself. Both sides held wooden knives, and after bowing, the standoff began. After a while, Noah knew he had to wield his sword, and Gengshiro's sword became increasingly powerful. If he didn't wield his sword again, there would be no chance. This sword cuts iron. Under immense pressure, Noah swung this sword, feeling his heart full of excitement. He knew he had made progress again without looking at the panel. But what he didn't expect was that Gung Sailang just gently lifted the wooden knife and bounced open his own slash with the blade's belly. Shocked Noah a bit. Continue. After Gung Sailang finished speaking, he swung a knife. Brush. The ultimate sense of danger shocks the soul. It must not be struck, it will die, it will die, it will die. Although it was a wooden knife, Noah could feel that being struck by it was no different from a small grass. If you can't hold it, then dodge. Concentrate, see and hear colors and auras surround every inch. Got it. On the left. The body quickly dodges to the right. Wrong, Gengsairo's wooden knife was actually swung to the right. The wooden knife slashed straight at Noah's body. Gung Sailang stands with his sword drawn. Your chopping iron power is too scattered and will be guided by the opponent to bounce away, indicating that you do not have enough control over the sword. If you are not proficient in seeing, hearing, and seeing, you will also be deceived by your opponents. One mistake will lead to death. After speaking, Genxiro turned around and left. With a loud bang, the wall behind him slid down, and a sword mark extended from the ground behind him. Those who stood in front of the mark were cut in half. Noah himself was unscathed. Standing dumbfounded for a while, he bowed in the direction of Genxiro, and this time he was completely clear-headed. Although the trip to the East China Sea also experienced bloody battles, the constant victories also gave Noah a sense of pride. Genxiro didn't say anything after seeing it, and the swordsman was better at speaking with his sword. Noah's sword, Genxiro's sword. I finished speaking and understood the problem. Frost Moon Sword Technique Mastery 35% Seen and Heard Colorful Dominance Beginner Level 30%. There will always be some gains in a sparring. Go home and find a way to continue improving your strength. Master Gung Sailang has already pointed out the problem, and it is easy to find a way to make up for it with Noah's thinking. If you lack control over swords, then start practicing from lifting weights lightly and lifting weights lightly. This Dugu Senior is really skilled. From a heavy sword without a sharp edge, great craftsmanship without craftsmanship. Even grass, wood, bamboo, and stone can be used as swords without being stuck in objects. This realm is clearly stated. This has been practiced until the end, and the control is secure. It's just that the martial art style in the world of pirates is slightly unique. There is also a solution to the problem of insufficient color intensity and accuracy. Blinding and piercing the leaves. When the leaves are blown off by the wind, their trajectory is irregular due to uneven center of gravity, which is perfect for practicing seeing and smelling colors. Thank you to the selfless contributions of the predecessors from other worlds. Once you have an idea, you must implement it. The development of materials science in the world of pirates is very good. I ordered a heavy and ordinary shaped épée, which was not originally suitable for forging into a sword. However, the requirements of the wealthy must be met. By the way, I ordered a full body weight-bearing set. Noah's body is no longer sufficient for self-weight training. People in the world of One Piece have a high basic physical fitness, so mastering the scale will not affect their bones. Combined, it's like using a heavy sword to string leaves. It not only exercises lifting weights lightly, but also enhances the dominance of sight, hearing, and color. Underwater practice with wooden swords to enhance physical fitness. This exercise method once again broadened Genxiro's horizons. Suddenly, I felt that Noah was creating a stable and progressive way of practicing swordsmanship. With sufficient resources, this method could train at least one swordsman who could be considered qualified in the country of harmony. People who change the world. I'm really looking forward to the future. End of this chapter.